This is the book that I'm going to take a look at over the next few minutes. It's called The Sun Stands Still, or not the, there's no the in front of it. Sun Stands Still, What Happens When You Dare to Ask God for the Impossible by Pastor Steven Furtick. He's the pastor of a church in Charlotte, North Carolina, known as Elevation, where they have a few thousand members attending each week, and it started as a church plant just 7 years ago. So God is doing some really cool things there. A lot of life change happening in Charlotte as well as the rest of America and around the world. And Pastor Steven in this book takes a second and looks at, and I say a second because it's not a super long book. It is fairly easy to read, but there's a ton of things to chew on, so it might take you a little while to get through it, just like it did for me. And Pastor Steven Furtick takes a look at the story of Joshua, where in the Bible, Joshua actually calls for the Lord to make the sun stand still so that he would have time to finish the fight that he was fighting, and so that his army could eventually have victory. And so Pastor Furtick takes a look at this story and looks at real-life examples from people that he knows, looks at his real-life example as he's planning this church, and just through the life through the life of his church. And so it's pretty cool because you see some of the prayers that Pastor Furtick and others that he knows have prayed, asking the Lord for the sun to stand still. And essentially what a sun stand still prayer is somebody has audacious faith where they believe that God can still do the impossible, that God is still a miracle worker, that God is still about not just answering the small prayers, even though he is, but he's also about answering the big prayers. And it doesn't mean like, I'm going to pray this miraculous prayer and God is just going to answer it and I'm going to have billions of dollars and all these crazy things are going to happen to me. But it's being willing to say, I recognize that God is the all-powerful God, that he's called me to live life with him from day to day, not just going to church on Sundays and being considered a good person, but he's asking me to actually walk with him in my job, in my neighborhood, wherever I'm at. God is calling me to do life with him and do life in a way that honors him. And so through recognizing those kinds of things and seeing the promises of God that he lays forth and seeing the attributes of God that he has in Scripture, you start to believe that God is still so powerful and he still is working in miraculous ways. And you're going to want to pray things like, Lord, would you help me be able to witness to everyone at my job? Or Lord, would you just be able to provide financial wisdom for me and my family as we make our way out of debt? Somewhat huge prayers that may seem impossible in the beginning, but God is a miracle worker. He's calling us to step out in faith, and he is calling us to ask the things that our heart is desiring. And so as our thoughts and as our hearts are aligned with and focused on the Lord, as Steven Furtick talks about, we're going to start to pray things that seem audacious, that seem impossible. But what happens when you dare to believe that God is still working the impossible? Whether God answers your prayer just the way that you asked for or not, you're going to be able to recognize that in the hard situations and in the incredible, exciting, make you smile all the time situations, God is still God. He's worth worshiping no matter who we are or what circumstance we're in. And so we're going to do that. We're going to worship him with all we have. So this book definitely challenges you to pray sun stand still prayers. It's not saying that as soon as you pray a prayer that God is just going to miraculously answer it no matter what it is, like some kind of prosperity gospel. But it is saying that part of having audacious faith and part of living the life that God's called us to live is praying big prayers, praying powerful prayers, knowing that not because of anything we've done, not because of our good, but because of who God is, that he is powerful enough to answer those prayers in the way that he sees fit. So definitely an awesome book, challenges your thinking in so many ways, gives you great insight to the mind of Steven Furtick if you have questions on who he is and what he's all about and exactly what is he preaching. It definitely helps you as you just go through the book and read it. I highlighted so much of the book. Sometimes I found myself highlighting 7 to 10 sentences on a page because it really was that good. I'll put a link down below for you to go buy it on Amazon. This has been Book Look. I'm going to wrap it up. If you have suggestions for books for me to read, or if you have comments about The Sun Stands Still or anything else, just let me know. Comment down below. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you like, and check out some of my other videos. I will see you in the next one.